Okay, everybody, we got Broderick Thompson here. Broderick, you're in Livigno, right, buddy?
I am in Livigno, yep.
Yeah,
Just training here and getting ready for Christmas in a few days.
sweet, sweet. Yeah, Christmas on the road. I don't envy you. Sorry, buddy. It's nice to be at
Okay,
home with the kids these days.
for sure.
Yeah, so you know what, clearly Broderick and I, we text back and forth, but I thought it would be really great for the people in Canada that are following us on this newsletter that we talk to the man here, the man that just got a podium in Beaver Creek, and man, I watched your skiing. I thought it was amazing, and your skiing in Lake Louise wasn't that amazing, and I was wondering kind of like what happened that you were able to turn it around, because I know you had a good preseason block. And so maybe before the podium, why don't we kind of just go through your season a little bit and just I think it's great for kids to see, like, it's an ebb and flow all the time of like good results, bad results, and just picking away at it. So if you don't mind, let's kind of go through it.
Yeah, well, the season starts for us pretty early. Like I guess this in the spring of last season. So getting ready for the off season, which is full on training in the spring to get some miles. And yeah, it's really just kind of taking it one step at a time and building up the technique you want, making a few changes that you're going to stick with for the year. And I felt like I made some good improvements in my technical skiing and a little bit in the tactics as well as mental performance. And yeah, just bringing that on throughout the summer and into the fall was big for me. And I ended up being quite fast in training in the fall. And coming into Lake Louise, yeah, it was a tough week with a lot of conditions, snow conditions, and a lot of weather holds and things like that. But uh, I don't think the mindset really changed throughout that week and pushing into Beaver Creek. I think you got to stay positive, and for me, I really like to stay positive, and I'm kind of good at it in a way. So just touching on what accomplishments I had in the off season, and touching on those fast times, and really just thinking about that every day, and bringing that into the races, especially in Beaver Creek. Like uh, as a alpine skier, you kind of expect to just chip into the 30 and then get a result from there as you get a better start number. So it was quite surprising for me, although I knew the skiing was there. So yeah, I think staying positive and the outcome was awesome for me.
Okay, cool. Well, I mean, the outcome was awesome, but the skiing in Lake Louise, you're kind of middle of the ski. You weren't really generating that much speed, and then in Beaver Creek, all of a sudden, steeper, and you were really accelerating. You were really pushing on the front of the ski, and I mean, you were really in that sweet spot. So, like,
I
what
think
gives? I
I
mean,
think
it's
it
one
comes
thing to
with
stay
like
positive, but
confidence. Like I feel like in training a lot of the time, I try to be very centered in the ski and a lot of energy in the ski, like putting a lot of pressure on so that you're not becoming unweighted throughout the turn. And in Beaver Creek, I think the sun was out, the snow was hard. There's not like there was chatter and grooves, but you could really push into the ski and feel feedback. So I think the change was the course was it held up better. It was hard for everyone. My confidence was higher just because I could see see the ground,
yeah,
and
that's fair.
I know for you especially
Yeah.
in the past it's been a big confidence booster, but also just sticking to my routine, not getting down because of a bad race, and trying to generate energy in the ski and be strong with it. Ski strong. That was one of my key points. So
Yeah, I,
yeah,
I mean, I totally, I know you're feeling, because I feel like, especially at Lake Louise, you come from Nikiska or Panorama, and the snow is pretty good. It's a little soft usually. I mean, because it's beginning of the year,
mhm.
it's snowing, and then you get to Lake Louise, and when there's these, it's kind of an interesting rut. Like you get kind of like three ruts in the
Yeah,
in the turn, and then it's hard to, unless you're really getting the ski into that first rut and kind of having it moving towards the right direction, you just end up hitting all three, and I mean, your energy is kind of spent by coaches.
Yeah.
And
For
to
sure.
me, that's what it looked like. You went, you know, you were just backseat and you just kind of playing catch up to the bumps, which,
Yeah.
you know, obviously that happens. But I guess for context for people too, like you literally did the Lake Louise run. You get on a plane, you fly down to Colorado. You haven't skied on grippy Colorado snow, and then you didn't have a
No.
training day or anything before you pushed out of the Talons, right? Like are you just going straight
We
into
had
that? Like,
basically, well, there was like no snow in Colorado, so we got off the plane, had a day off, and then right into downhill training runs. So we had 2 downhill training runs before the Super G.
okay, so you had skied the pitch, because I feel like, you know,
Yeah.
going to cold turkey, just going down that
Yeah.
pitch.
Well, my first downhill training run wasn't the most beautiful thing, but I knew what I had to do to be better, and that's what I was thinking about. Like in the Super G, I knew I had to be aggressive and stand on the ski, because in the downhill training run, I didn't really do that. I had to make that adjustment in that race, and it worked out. Like,
Yeah. And what
yeah,
do you like when
yeah.
you say stand on the ski? Like, let's dig into that for a quick sec, Wed.
Well, you can be soft on moving to the outside ski, or you can really put your body mass towards that outside ski and drive into it and get over that ski. Other than, like, if you're kind of soft with it and leaning back and outside or inside, it doesn't really work all that well. You can't make the skis work for you and generate speed. I think you
Yeah.
gotta you have to let the skis work themselves, but also put yourself in the best position to make that speed. And that's one of them, is being aggressive in that pitch, because it is steep.
Yeah.
And it's demanding, so you have to then command yourself.
Did you leave it all out there, or is there a mistake that you made on course where you're like, man, if I still had some left in the tank?
No, I felt like I may have made a couple mistakes on the top pitch, but there's not a lot of time up there. The places that I knew I had to ski well, that a lot of guys were losing a ton of time, I felt like I skied those really well. And yeah, I 35 to third.
Yeah.
I couldn't really ask for a lot
No,
more.
dude. To me, it was a winning run. Like,
Yeah,
watching
and
it.
that's how I felt. I like,
Okay.
honestly, you know
All
how it
right.
is.
Yeah.
Getting on the podium at all, you know, it's like
Totally.
a
Totally.
win. It's something that you do dream of, and if it happens,
Well, in
you
35th
don't
to
know if it's
third,
gonna happen ever, really,
dude.
beforehand, right?
Dude, and you know, yeah, I mean, from watching it on TV, I looked and I'm like thinking, like, you know, you start 15 places, 15 spots earlier, and that's a W, right? So it's um you know, it's cool. I think what I really liked about it is I've seen you train like that, and I've seen you ski like that, but I've never seen you put like a minute 30 together. And you know, I think that's one thing that a lot of racers still struggle with, right? Like knowing that where now you obviously, you know, but like,
Yeah,
you're
I think
good
that's
is good
something, like,
enough,
even
right?
that
You're good
morning,
is really good enough.
when I was riding up the chairlift in the morning, I'm like, dude, is this ever gonna happen? Like, am I ever gonna ski to my potential, or, like, you know, break through, or make the points? And you think about, like, coming through the finish and winning or whatever. And I thought about that riding up the chair that day, and I was like, you got to stop thinking about that. You guys got to have a good run. Like, top 30, top 25 would be like a win. And then coming through being, yeah, third, I was like blown away. And then the next day I started in the 30, obviously, and I had a 20th place in the next Super G the next day. And that would have been satisfying to me the day before.
Yeah.
Which I was still like, I got lots of congratulations from, like, the head guys and my coaches and everything. And I was like, yeah, but the day before, you know, but it was
Yeah,
still
but
good skiing the
it's
next
probably
day.
good to be cognizant of, because obviously, you
And
know it, right?
it
Like a
felt good.
20th
Yeah.
place is still great. And you need, now that you're in the 30, you know, you
Yeah.
gotta you need to position that spot so you're never going to move out, right? Like that's where results start coming. As you get used, now you're going to get used to the better snow conditions and the new line that you'll be able to take because of it. And
I feel like it's more of my style of training, you know, the hammer and taking that risk on the line and stuff like that. For sure, it'll be fun.
Yeah, buddy. Well, you know what? I was like, literally, I was in like full tears. I was at Panorama. Somebody
Well,
was
I know.
like, what?
I think that you're the first person other than Alex that I talked to. You're like, when you called me, I was just happened to be like decompressing on the couch, and I was like, oh, Manny, green button.
Man, I had the kids on the chair and I was like fully like teared up. I was like, man, that's the best thing ever. Like, you guys have no idea, you know, obviously if like your accident in Nikiska and then coming back and, you know, rehabbing together and just knowing your potential. And then you were skiing like pretty much what you were skiing now 3 years ago, you know, and
I know that's what I was telling people too. I was like, 3 years ago, I was like in the same place, but not with like the fear, you know, that you have after an injury. And I think that building that back up has been a bit of a process.
But maybe that fear is good. I mean, you have
I think it is. I honestly think it is.
Downhill and every course, you know.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I tell people now. I'm like, I feel more like confident and in a better place to, you know, make it down each course and build the speed back up, not risking it to get that speed. So
yeah. Well,
but for you, how did it feel? Like, you're not racing anymore, but you're seeing me on the podium. Is it like similar to like this when you've had a lot of like success on the World Cup, obviously getting a podium? Like, how did that compare to?
Man, I was
getting it yourself.
I was just so proud. Like, I think, you know, I know how it feels to stand on the podium, and I feel like you just want others to feel that feeling. And, you know, I'm happy that Paris and Meyer and all these guys and Foyts and those guys that, you know, they get lots of podiums and whatever. And, but when a guy stands on the podium for the first time, like either Bryce or yourself or whatever, you know, like that's like the coolest feeling. Like, you know, I think that all the podiums start washing out, you know, and I know my first win and you know, my world champs medal, and like those really stay with you. And I think, like, you know, being able to do it, man, it, like, you know, in Beaver Creek, you know, for you, like there was probably a bunch of Canadians in the stands, and like, you know, just
I honestly thought the cheers when I came through the finish line was just because I was Canadian and I was in North America. I was like, oh, they're really loud like this time. I'm like, why? And then I look at the screen and I see third, and I'm like, holy crap! Like,
who'd you bump off the podium?
Andy Sander by 300.
So he's the only one that was really pissed off. But
but he came up to me and said congrats. I don't think he's had even a World Cup podium. He's had World Championship podium.
That's maybe, I think so. Lots of fifths. So he gets lots of fifths.
Imagine if you were sitting like bib 10, you wait till 35 guys and you're like, oh, I got this. Like, I'm third, and then
but that's the beauty of coming third when you start later in the race. You know, when you're sitting in third and you've started like fifth or seventh, you're biting your nails the whole way through, because there's guys like you that are going to come in and take it. I mean, look, I think Robbie was the same way when he was fourth in Beaver Creek. He was sitting in third until
Marsaglian.
Who was it?
Was it Marsaglian? I thought it was Marsaglian, but maybe not.
No, I don't think. Well, whoever it was, they came down and won the race, right? Won the race from 31st or 32nd. And bumped Robbie off the podium. And it's like, you know, it's just the worst. It's the worst place to sit, because it, you know, very rarely does it work out. So way better to come from the back and be the guy doing.
That's what I said. Jack the other day in Valgardena came into third, starting bib 14, and I was like, dude, you got to start further back if you want that to hold. It's fun, but yeah, I think it's. Yeah.
Oh man. So pumped for you. I know we were checking beforehand here that 2017 Eric was the last guy to podium. So, you know, like 5 years, no podiums. I think it's huge. I mean, I think you saw it right away, that the confidence of your whole team. And I think that's even passed over to the women and to the tech guys. You know, I think really, like, it's a snowball effect. It totally is, where
Yeah, for sure. I noticed it.
yeah, the whole demeanor of the team is different. Hey, like you guys have game, right? And it's good when one guy can show it off. And I mean,
Yeah.
the team result the next day was awesome. Right away everybody was on a high.
Yeah, everyone was in there the next day for sure. Yeah, I think, yeah, like coming from the outside in, I think it lights a fire. Like for guys like Jack and Brody and Jeff, it definitely lights a fire, but also shows that we're all kind of viable. All of our training is kind of, it shows that it's there. Like the skiing's there. Like I'm not always winning every run in training for sure. Jack and Brody and Jeff, they're all fast as well, and I think it definitely like makes it, like puts it out there that it's a possibility. And I think also with the slalom guys, like I've seen them the last few races like really turning it on, and I think it's got to come from a little bit from that, like they've been at it for a long time and they haven't had that like podium, and they've been close fourths or fifths, and I think to see that I did it maybe would have sparked a little bit more something under their butts.
I
But
think so.
it's
Yeah,
got
I
to,
mean,
it's
now
got to.
you're
Like I would be the same way for sure if it was Jack in my position. If Jack had podiumed and I was 12th or whatever he was, he definitely took it personally, and I think that's a good thing for, especially for our team.
yeah, soon you'll be like, what's taking you guys so long? This was so easy.
It just happened after a long time, but yeah.
So you're in
Cool.
Livigno now, which for everybody, what's a little thing about Livigno? I guess the Italian Job was filmed there when they threw the car off
Yeah,
the
that famous bridge and tunnel.
yeah, the
It's sunny
dam
like all
there.
day after
It's
9.
sunny, nice,
It's great.
and
Yeah.
what a cool spot to ski. I mean, I've traveled through it all the time. Did you guys get to free ski around there?
We did do a little tour of the mountain, but we were training here the last few days. As you know, like you end up skiing on one lift
Yeah,
in all these
totally.
beautiful places. But it's a very cool place. You can ski like to the next town and either way, and you're kind of right in the middle of Switzerland and Italy and Austria. It's all pretty close, and we head over to Bormio on the 24th to chill out for a day before training runs begin there. So that's exciting.
And are you at the slope right now? Are you guys in the sun or are you skiing in the dark?
In the we were doing GS and slalom, and the GS session is like before the sun comes up, and the
Okay.
slalom session was in the sun. But it's all the same slope, and it's just
Uh-huh.
the sun comes up at like 9:30. But you know what they say about training after 9. Amen.
Never get better, that's for sure. So, okay, so Bormio's coming up. Much of the same. Val Gardena, it's dark a bit. Lake Louise, it's flat light. Bormio's dark. And obviously you and I know there's a difference between dark and flat light, but and it's
Yeah,
kind
I
of
don't mind
sometimes it's
that.
nice, right? When it's bad weather, it's actually better. When we say dark, it's north facing. Most of the races are north facing. So what's the plan? What's going through your head to be fast and be confident in these
In
conditions?
Bormio, yeah, I think it's like the Val Gardena. It's more like you got to be glidey and have a lot of suspension and have the experience of the track. And I think coming into Bormio, it's more just kind of rock and roll and like be aggressive, carry your speed from section to section, and have the legs at the bottom a little bit. So I think, yeah, the plan is just to keep that kind of positivity and game plan from Beaver Creek. Like it's similar.
All
I
right,
would
but
say
being positive is not going to get you all the way down. What are you going to do? What's going on here, buddy?
that's
Like,
what I'm saying. You got to charge,
just
especially in
charged? What's
Bormio.
charging even mean? That means nothing to
Well,
me. Like,
in
you can
training
still
all the time,
just
being
charge. You can
strong.
charge right into the nets,
What would you
dude.
say?
Like,
Of that?
I
Yeah,
don't
I
know.
know, but that's where I've learned that
Yeah.
that
How are you
limit.
going to find the front of the ski?
I'm gonna stand on the ski and push it.
All right, all
What
right,
what
okay,
else do you
fine,
want?
fine. You know what? It's all good.
What
Whatever's
would you
going through your
say?
brain seems to
You
be
probably would
working.
say the same thing.
I know, but there's people that are going to watch this. They're going to think, oh, when it's bad light, what do I do? You know, and I'm going to think like,
Well, you
I
got to
totally
push
get
through it. You got
Bormio.
to push through it, right?
But, you know, Bormio, I always found like, you know, there you can have the worst crash in Bormio and people stand up, get through the first 15 seconds of the course. And then like for me, I was always like stay a little cautious first 15 seconds because that's like it's pretty gnarly and it
There's a little
starts
bit
out
of an
pretty fast.
error.
But after that, like you get through that first big right-footed turn and man, like you see the biggest crashes ever and everybody stands up. So you can totally hammer down from there down because it's like it's a safe zone to be as wild as and crazy as you want to be.
Sounds good. Be good at the top and let her run to the bottom.
How many times have you raced Bormio?
I think once twice because last year I did training runs and then my knee wasn't loving it, so I didn't do the race. But before that, we did Santa Catarina. So I did Santa Catarina for my first 2 or 3 years, and then Bormio, I was 8th in that combined and downhill slalom, and that was the only time.
And does it get in your head at the start when you know your legs are going to burn, or you use that to your advantage? I mean, I looked at the podium picture the other day, and I mean, your legs are the biggest out of the 3 guys on the podium at that point.
Yeah, I don't think about that in the start. I feel like I don't really notice until I'm in the finish. Usually, it's like
that's good.
That kind of floods you after the fact. But I like the years I've done Bormio, it hasn't been all that like crazy. Other than last year, it was a little bumpy, but the dark doesn't seem to bother me as much.
Well, and you come from Santa Catarina, like that's real. You think Bormio is dark, and then you go to Santa Catarina.
That's what I've been. I guess that's where I'm coming from for sure.
Yeah. So that helps you. And all right. Well, you know what, bud? I wanted definitely.
Really
we haven't really
my plan apart, don't you?
Well, I want to know. I want to know. Like it's way better to know. And I mean, most importantly, I wanted to chat to you about Beaver Creek. I was so proud of you, buddy. And I think it's just like you've put so much work into it. You podiumed before your sister this year. I think that's that's a key takeaway.
I've got a bunch since.
Well, let's not bring that up. I know Marielle's got she's already got a whack load already. So that's just it's just a stat at this point. But I think man, Beaver Creek's a tough one to lay down. It's got lots of opportunity from the back, and to seize that opportunity is pretty awesome. And then you have Bormio as well. Bormio is usually a pretty fair race from the start to the finish. There's not really any wind issues usually or anything. It's just the best skier wins, and the guy that wants it, because obviously once your legs start getting tired, if you don't want to get to the finish line, you start just losing time. So man, I'm super excited.
I think at the bottom is important. Sure.
Yeah. I'm pumped to watch you. I'm pumped on your season, and I think it's it's so great that you were able to have that podium and to start your like a real successful career. So hats off to you, buddy.
I appreciate it.
Yeah. And maybe next time when I talk to you later in the season, maybe for the Olympics or something, you'll give me a little bit more insight than standing on your ski aggressively and stuff like that. You'll actually maybe identify like, what you're doing would be good, for me. I got to pass on this information. So if you're just
what do you teach your athletes at this point? It's probably all the same stuff. Skiing doesn't really change.
No, it's simple, man.
I'm working on standing tall and making speed with my skis.
Yeah. Well, I think that's the biggest thing that people do forget is you're trying to make speed, right? It's not about getting around the gates. It's about getting speed and wanting to go faster, truly wanting to. And I think, what you touched on earlier too, with maybe your injury and stuff is you've got wisdom in your toolbox now, which, it takes a while to get, but it's probably
you gotta hit a few nets before you get smart.
Yeah. You always seem to do that. But whatever, it's, what, when my second time in Bormio, I hit one of the nets and we only had one training run there. So I dug myself out. I had gone through 2 B nets and then hit the A net. And
Did you get fined?
the guys came, they came
Continuing to
and
go.
lifted up all the B nets for me. And I came through and I waved at, some guy that looked official, and I chucked my skis back on and I kept skiing. And I went off the San Pietro jump. And I went off the jump and there was people raking everywhere below the jump. And because they had already stopped the start. And I
Did you
looked
get
down and I
fined?
was like freaking out. I was looking at all these guys. And then I looked at my ski, and the whole front of the ski was broken. As soon as I went off the jump, it folded down, and I ended up having to land on one ski, and I didn't make it to the bottom. So, I think, wisdom's a good thing, because, later on in my career, I would have just pulled over.
Yeah.
We were lucky that
Knowing
nothing happened.
where to risk and where to when to risk and when to not.
Well, you're the veteran on the team right now.
Like
Mhm.
in the training run, I kind of came over straight in Val Gardena and was going straight for the gate, and I went on the left side when I should have gone on the right side. But it was a smart move, because like Brody said, he went to make the gate and got really sketchy. And I think
Yeah,
earlier on in my career, I probably would have done the same. So
yeah, totally.
you live and learn.
Yeah, buddy, for sure. Okay, well, let's wrap this up. And I'm super pumped to talk to you before the holiday season. Have a
Well,
happy Merry Christmas. And yeah, it's Bormio, buddy. Like, say hi to the family at the hotel, please.
I will, for sure.
And rip it up. Rip it
Well,
up.
thank you. Thanks for
Yeah.
having me.
Best of luck, bud. Cheers.